Good morning, students. Welcome back. We are discussing about the diversity of living organisms. With regards of this topic, we have already discussed about the other four kingdoms, and also yesterday I have given the definitions and some explanation about the some important terms we come across in this topic, that is classification of animals. Okay, and today we are going to discuss about the classification of animals, how these animals have been classified. Okay, based on the presence of backbone, as I told you already yesterday, that the combination of spinal cord and the 32 spinal vertebral column, that means the spinal cord and which are presented around the 32 bony pieces which are arranged one by one like a spring in the tick pen. Ball point pen will be there now. So with that pen, in that one spring will be presented there, and in the spring, suppose this is the spring and this is the spinal cord. This spinal cord is presented inside that, and this all the vertebrae, that means bony pieces, 32 bony pieces are arranged one above the another, make a chain like structure, and this 32 bony pieces plus spinal cord together called as backbone. So the animals which have the backbone and animals which do not have the backbone. So based on the presence of vertebral column, based on the presence of backbone, the total animals are classified into two basic groups. One is invertebrates and second one is vertebrates. Invertebrates as well as the vertebrates. Basically these two groups are there. Invertebrates, the animals which do not possess the vertebral column, the animals which do not possess the backbone, they are called as invertebrates, also said to be as non-chordates. The animals which do not possess the vertebral column, they are called as invertebrates or non-chordates. Okay, and next the animals which are possess the vertebral column, means which have the vertebral column in their dorsal side of the this body. The vertebral column is presented there, and that vertebral column, for some animals it will be dorsal side, some animals it will be ventral side also. So according to this having of the vertebral column also a development of the organisms. So in the presence of this vertebral column plays an important role in the division of the animals. Animals without vertebral column, invertebrates. Animals with vertebral column, they are vertebrates, or we can say chordates. Chord, we can see this chord, C-H-O-R-D, chord, long spine-like structure, this is called as chord or notochord. What is a notochord? Almost all the higher grade animals, are having this notochord somewhere in their development of the structures. Okay, and furtherly, the primitive, that means the early organisms of the higher grade animals are having the notochord, and as the animals are developing one after another, it means that is called as evolution of the animals. This notochord is replaced by or replaced with spinal. This notochord is replaced with spinal cord. Okay, so the vertebral column is nothing but 32 bony pieces along with the spinal cord. That is called vertebral column or the backbone. And the animals which are having the backbone are called as vertebrates. So this way basically the classification of animals is taken place. Non-chordates as well as the chordates. Okay, and let us see again after the division. This is the basic big groups. Again we have the lot of different types of animals. So based on their body structure, their habitat means the place where they are living, their habitat and their food habits, these all the animals are furtherly divided into different groups. Okay, let us see first of all invertebrates. Okay, today we will discuss about the invertebrates. Based on their food habits, based on their habitat, based on their location and based on their body structure, all the invertebrates are classified into 8 phyla. 8 phyla. The first one is Porifera, Coelenterata, Aschelminthis, sorry, not Aschelminthis, Platyhelminthes. This third one is Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthis, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, and the last one is Echinodermata. These are the 8 phyla. All these groups are said to be as phylum. When we are discussing about this topic classification, diversity of living organisms, I have told you that taxonomy as having the ranks. The least rank is species, genus, class, order, family, phylum, division and the kingdom. So in the plants category it is a division, in the animals category it is phylum. So whenever you are saying or writing about these phylum, compulsory you should write phylum Porifera. You should say phylum Porifera, phylum Coelenterata, phylum Platyhelminthes, phylum Aschelminthis, phylum Annelida, phylum Arthropoda, phylum Mollusca and the phylum Echinodermata. These are the 8 phyla that invertebrates have been classified based on their body structure, their habitat and food habits. Based on these are the invertebrates are classified into 8 phyla. Phylum is the singular, phyla is the plural. Okay. So let us learn about the one by one of these phyla. First one is phylum Porifera. The examples for the phylum Porifera are sponges. Examples for the phylum Porifera are sponges. Porifera. I told you the examples of the phylum, this phylum Porifera are sponges. There are many types of sponges are there. The names cycon. This is the cycon. This is called spongilla. It's not a bread piece. It's not a bread piece. It is a spongilla. Okay. So these are the best examples for the sponges. Almost all these animals belong to the Porifera phylum are marine animals. Completely live in the salt water, in the seas and oceans, and very few like some of these spongilla may present in the fresh water, but most of the organisms of this Porifera phylum are marine organisms. They live in the salt water, that means sea and oceans. Okay, and these are sedentary in nature. Sedentary means these are attached to a rock-like structure. These are attached to the rock-like structure, basement, and this is called as substratum. A rock-like structure that is attached by these sponges is called a substratum. So that's why these are sedentary. They never move from one place to another place. They never move from one place to another place, and they don't have the locomotory organs. Locomotory organs, a new word. Locomotion. Moving the body, moving the complete body from one place to another place. This is called as locomotion. So for this movement of the total body from one place to another place, the organs which are helpful for this activity, they are called as locomotory organs. So these organisms do not have the locomotory organs because they are sedentary. Sedentary means they are attached to the rock-like structures called as substrate. And you might be finding that here I kept the dots. The total body of these sponges having the minute pores-like structures. Minute pores-like structures are called as ostia. Through this ostia, the water will be enter into the body of these sponges, and they have the large opening at the top. Large opening at the top. This is called as osculum, and through this osculum, the water which is entered into this body through the ostia, that water will be come out from the osculum after leaving the oxygen into the animal body. Okay, because the oxygen, these are all already I told you, aquatic animals. So they take the oxygen which is dissolved in the water and they leave the carbon dioxide which can be dissolved in the water once again. So the osculum is useful for removal of the waste materials from the body, and ostia, the small pore means hole, microscopic hole. The small holes will help the organism to enter the water into their body, and they are having the intracellular digestion, means the digestion will be occur the cell itself, within the cell itself, that is called intracellular digestion. Okay, and these are not radially symmetrical, or these are not bilaterally symmetrical. There is no such a symmetry for these organisms. These are most primitive animals when compared to the other animals. Okay, and examples of this cyclone and spongilla, and especially the spongilla have some economical benefit. In the kingdom dynasties, at the time of kings, when they were ruling our country, India, and some other countries of the world, the queens of the kings used this spongilla, otherwise used this spongilla as a bath soaps. Because those days no soaps are there, such soaps like Lux, Liril or some other Patanjali soaps, not there at all in those days. Only the queens who are there for the kings, those are used this spongilla as bath soaps. So that is the economical benefit, and that's why they are never get any kind of diseases, affected by any kind of diseases. That is the major important thing for the sponges. That is the poriferans. These are also called as poriferans. And come to the next one is Coelenterata. Coelenterata, of course, in this one more category is there, that is called Cnidaria. That is also included in the Coelenterata actually. But in your textbook, it is given separately. But don't feel that it's a separate phylum, it's not separate one. It is one of the part of the Coelenterata. These organisms are having the one hollow space in the body, inside the body. The hollow space is called as coelenteron, otherwise gastrovascular space. So because of that coelenteron, the hollow space, these organisms are called as Coelenterata. And also these are diploblastic animals. The example for the Coelenterata, let me write here: hydra, jellyfish, so these are the best examples for the phylum Coelenterata. This is hydra, this is sea anemone, this is Obelia, or we can say jellyfish. It's not a fish, remember, it's not a fish, it is a jellyfish. These are the best examples for Coelenterata. You might be finding that Hydra, these have the cylindrical body. The animals which are belong to the Coelenterata are having the cylindrical body are called as polyps. And some of the organisms they have the umbrella shaped structure here. You can see here they have the umbrella shaped structure here. This is the another category. So two types of category are there, and most of them are freshwater and some of them are marine water. Both the aquatic animals only. Some of them are living in fresh water and some of them are living in marine water. And these are all diploblastic animals, as I told you that there are two layers will be germinal layers will be presented there. Outer ectoderm and inner endoderm. And in between these two layers, you might be seeing here. This is the ectoderm and this is the endoderm. So in between the ectoderm and endoderm, there is a space. You can see this one, this space. There is a space. This space is filled with a body cavity. It's a body cavity called as a coelom. That's why Coelenterata name is given. And the remaining is a hollow tube-like structure will be presented in empty space. This is called as coelenteron. Or we can say this is also said as gastrovascular space. Okay, and at the place of mouth, this is the mouth. The mouth is only the opening that can be useful for the intaking of food, leaving out of the waste material. Intaking of food as well as the leaving out of the waste material. That is the mouth. Around the mouth, there are hair-like projections will be presented. Of course, these also can said to be as a finger-like projections. But these are more than the finger size. That's why hair-like projections are presented there. These hair-like projections are called as tentacles. These tentacles are useful for locomotion. These will be useful for moving from one place to another place and also capturing the food material. Capturing the food material. They will capture the food material and send the food material into the mouth of this hydra. Hydra as well as the sea anemone also like that. Okay, understand? But this sea anemone is having the cilia, not tentacles here. Cilia is presented here, and this is sedentary. This cannot move from one place to another place. It takes shelter on any other moving organism. Okay, understand now? This is sedentary, that's sea anemone, and whereas the Obelia as well as this hydra are locomotive, means move from one place to another place. And these tentacles which are presented around the mouth, and these tentacles are having the special cells called as nematocysts. The special cells are called as nematocysts, or we can say stinging cells. Stinging. Nematocysts are stinging cells, and these cells are very much useful for this hydra, these organisms for the offense as well as the defense. Means to fight with the others and also to safeguard, that means protect themselves from others also. These stinging cells or the nematocysts are very much useful. Okay, and their body structure is completely made of that two layers called as ectoderm as well as the endoderm. Okay, and these are diploblastic animals, as I told you that, and intracellular digestion will be taking place here, and these are also called as hermaphrodites. Both these sexual organs are presented in one organism, but external fertilization will be taking place. External fertilization, already I told you that it's a fertilization which is occur outside the female body. That is the external fertilization. Okay, and these are radially symmetrical organisms. Radially symmetrical. If you draw a line like this, you can make it many equal parts from one axis. That is the radially symmetrical organisms. Okay, so this is about the Coelenterata, and next class we will discuss about the Platyhelminthes as well as the Aschelminthes. Okay, thank you very much.